Hello everybody, welcome back to Play Casket. These are your hosts, Paraka the Goblin and
Ghost, your co-host.
And today we're just going to go ahead and piggyback off of the last episode where I kind of hinted at that I have a lot of L's involved in failed Kickstarters. And we are just going to go ahead and dig into that and just talk about a lot of the failures and cautionary tales of why you should be cautious about Kickstarters. I'm definitely very familiar with Kickstarter as an investment platform. I'm not sure how much you are, though. Do you know much on anything on your end, your personal experiences overall in general, or?
Well, I don't put too much money into it, only because I'm super cautious about what I spend and how I spend. But there are a couple people that I do watch. Stop Drop Retro. We'll get onto that one later. But okay. I like watching things to be like buyer beware type of things. They're really fun to watch.
Yeah, they're fun to watch, but not fun to experience. Just to let you know, it's not great. We've talked before. We're both really big Nintendo fans. I was one of them that had way too much money to not spare, and I should have saved, but I'm a young dumb idiot goblin. But that's just how that works. But I put probably hundreds of dollars down on games that probably will never come out. One of them is a game, and it was like a not a live action. It was like an action platformer adventure game that starred gerbils, basically. They called them Cherbles. That's a very unique name, right? So basically, it was like a weird medieval game, right? It was supposed to be very cute, very vibrant, and all that. I didn't throw as much money down on that as other people did, but it was one of those ones where I probably shouldn't have done that. But they put, I think it was $6,000 as a budget, and they ended up pulling in $28,000.
Oh, jeez.
And they just kind of vanished off the face of the earth after 6 months of sub-monthly updates. And then it came back 2 years later, and they're we spent way too much money on art and animations because they were building so much stuff. Look how wacky and crazy these things all are. Trying to get people hyped up. They didn't realize that the programming end is going to be a lot more pricey, and they bit off a lot more than they can chew. They even admitted that they couldn't find enough programmers. They don't have enough money for programmers. This game's just going to be a giant art showcase of stupid animations that we tried to get thousands of dollars of other people's money. And that was basically the end of that game.
Well, at least they came out and said it. A lot of times people just disappear.
Oh, yeah. No, there was actually, and that's another game that I'm actually kind of want to touch up on. But I feel like there's a little bit more future for this in the end. But one of the ones that I put a couple $100, multiples of hundreds in this to absolutely lose in it was a dungeon crawler game called Cryamore.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of that. Yeah,
and there was some artists from Udon Entertainment and stuff too. So the people who used to do a lot of promo art for Street Fighter and Mega Man and stuff like that for Capcom and stuff. When they first got in and started rolling out all their project, a lot of people started getting bought up and hired to other major projects and stuff. So it started thinning out, and then they got Atlas to come back it up before it even got bought up by Sega. Atlas came in and was we're gonna publish this game. So they got a little boost on that, and then suddenly everybody slowly fight it out, and then eventually it just disappeared. And because of that, a lot of people were giving it shit, rightfully so. Honestly, I think I understand where people are hey, you shouldn't be mean, we don't know what's going on. But when you invest and you're not saying, hey, we're just going to go ahead and kill this, or we're not going to do anything, and basically the investor will be oh, well, I lost it. They at least deserve something. Even with my hundreds of dollars, I didn't trash them that much. I was just I don't know what's going on. I'm upset because I don't know what's going on. But I didn't trash them. I trashed me because, hundreds of dollars. Figures, man. Figures in art book. Hardcover art book, and I was going to have big old titties in it. And it's just how this one worked. But that's just happened. But I put like, I was excited about it, and I wanted to know what was going on. I wanted some information, and eventually, like, it was like 4 years of dead silence, and like all these Kickstarters that like really dominated early on was a lot of people who promised like stretch goals for the Wii U, and like not any, like I think only 2 of them ever released while the Wii U was still active. Just in general. Not even released onto the Wii U. Just released in general. Like, you are able to buy them. Mm-hmm. One of them was Shovel Knight, which did hit the Wii U.
Yeah.
And the other one was a PC game that had a Wii U stretch goal that they decided to kill it. Mm-hmm. Obvious reasons. But I think it was a couple months ago, after years of dead silence, the dude came out, and it was the original creator and like one of the main founders of the company. And it's like, look, here's how this is gonna go. We're tired of everyone's bullshit. We're tired of getting trash talked. We're tired of doing this, and like I understand that. Like, as much as I say rightfully so, people trashing them and stuff, mm-hmm. they're also in the right. Like this is give and take, right?
Yeah.
So he's saying, I'm tired of all this. I've been drawing porn for the last 2.5 years to make money to fund this, and I've been earning so much money on this, we are actually going to just fund it ourselves. Everyone's going to get refunds, and the people who trashed me first is going to get prioritized, because I don't want to hear you anymore.
No, that's good on them, though.
I'm not even going to argue that. Yeah. I'm like, that's fair. Like, honestly, so I'm still going to buy the game. Mm-hmm. I'm going to probably get a refund eventually, but mm-hmm. I don't know. I haven't heard any information on them or whether or not there's going to be any type of figures or anything else like that's going to come in tandem with that or not. Yeah. I don't know. They have not talked to me since then. Mm-hmm. But if they do, I'm like, just keep the money. But if not, I would rather just get a refund and I'll just buy your game in general. Yeah. Like, I'll just give you the legitimate numbers that you need. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So are people actually getting their refunds back?
He made that claim. Okay. I don't know. I don't know anybody who got their refunds yet. Mm-hmm. I don't know anybody who funded the thing except for me.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so that was a huge failure. But we'll see if it like rebounds back, because I have another one that we're gonna go ahead and talk about a little bit later too, that kind of rebounded and stuff too. That it's gonna be it's an interesting like love-hate story on that one. But you actually have one that was very similar to how the place gets drained out of their staff and such.
So basically, Ant Simulator, if anybody remembers that, it is what it's called. But they said it, from what I've heard the descriptions of, is you play a daily life of an ant, and you're in the colony. It looks really, really cool because I like ants, and it looked like a really decent game. I still think it's still up if you want to look at it. So they had a Kickstarter, and they got it on Steam. And back then, like, Steam was really hard to get on. So they raised enough money to put it on Steam, and it was going really well. The updates looked really good, and then they lost all their funding. So
you were showing me a couple clips of it. It kind of looked like what Sim Ant would be if EA was good.
But yeah, they lost all their funding, and everybody was just kind of pointing fingers at each other. And the guy who was left to hold the bag basically came out and said, my two partners kind of blew all the money, but he tried his best to recover it, and let's see. He tried his best to recover it, and then they went on Game Informer to talk about their situation. So it was a lot of just finger pointing.
No, you toss Uno card.
Basically. But, I mean, I guess it falls in between something in the middle, but I still think it's super sketchy that they kind of legally protected themselves before this all went down.
Well, the thing was, like, basically they're blaming him, and he was planning on leaving. That's what you told me, right?
Yeah, so... Well, at least from what the other two guys said was, they were gonna. What was it? They basically said he was gonna take all the money and cut them out. So that's why they bailed on him. and he was wasting the money. But he said, no, YouTube partied our money away. So
yeah, and what was funny was about that when you showed me that, the one question it kind of brought up was like, if he was planning on splitting, why is he still with the company instead, holding the whole bag?
yeah.
So if he was just going to just go ahead and take off, then he has the money in general still, then he would still be able to release the game.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense if it was that's what they're saying. So, yeah, that's definitely like really sketch.
Yeah.
Like that's definitely really sketch.
So I think he still has videos of it up. I don't know. Just YouTube Ant Simulator.
There's so many simulators out there nowadays too.
Yeah, true.
We should definitely do like some let's plays of just all the horrible simulators I own. Anyway.
But yeah. That's one of the ones I was kind of stuck out to me on Buyer Beware.
Yeah, another one that I feel like that was kind of a buyer beware for me, because I'm a huge like 3D platformer guy and stuff. There was a game that came out called Lobo Destroyo, right?
Yeah, it looked really good too.
Yeah, no, it looked like it's rough still around the edges, but it looks pretty satisfying. It's not like a buddy platformer like everybody's trying to catch the lightning in the bottle that Banjo-Kazooie was.
Yeah.
Even the other original creators, they're still not doing it. It ain't working out, guys. You guys just make some unique new mechanics and stuff, and I'll eat that up, because there isn't much to eat to begin with, and I'm starving. But Lobo Destroyo, like when you first funded it and stuff, that you was starting to roll it out, the Oya was starting to like get ready and prep for a release and stuff. So they actually came up and was like, "Hey, we're gonna get some exclusives," and they were roughly timed exclusives, 4-6 months, even a year, depending on the game and stuff, right? And they kind of locked these guys in, and Lobo Destroyo was one of them, right? So he's like, "Hey, after this, we're just gonna release it elsewhere," right? The Oya didn't go anywhere. But they kept those like contracts, and they're basically locked out of their own games. Like not just Lobo Destroyo, which is made by Left-Handed Games, but a lot of other ones did. Yeah. Like a lot of people were. So nobody really knew what was going to happen with Lobo Destroyo, which was really funny because like when I was talking about this, as you're like waiting and wondering whether or not they have an update, you will get updates from the original creator of Lobo Destroyo backing other projects during this entire absentee time. Oh, you'll just like see these other posts and stuff. Then it won't show you how much he's funding, so he could easily be doing like $5, whatever. You know, we don't know. All right, so let's clear the air and make it a little clear about that. We don't know the money. He might have put down $2 because I've done that before. It's kind of like a weird permanent way to kind of view all the backer only updates and stuff. $2, maybe that'll work out, right? So I don't know, but it's just weird when you see updates of like games like Sword of Strength of the Sword Ultimate, because words are hard. And then you see stuff like City of Titans remake of City of Heroes and stuff, and then you see a little tiny update with this guy that says Jimmy just backed this, and he has this little icon of Lobo Destroyo, and you're like, what the hell is he doing? And the thing is, I'm not like trashing him that he's not doing work. He might be doing work, but he's not giving me updates. I would like to know some updates, so I had to Google this because I've not seen it on my actual backer thing. I don't know why, but just recently, like in 2020, like July of 2020, June of 2020. They finally released a demo that you can contact them and ask them if they would like the PC demo and try it out and stuff, see how it works out and stuff. Other than that, they have been dead silent. Even on their Steam pages, even on their webs, even on their Twitter and stuff, they have been quiet. So I'm not entirely sure this game's going to see the light of day at the end of the rainbow, and I have nothing but Oya to fucking blame for that.
Yeah, that was super mismanaged too, Ouya.
Oh God, yeah. Like I want to talk about that along with like other like horrific projects of like just consoles in general one of these days. Okay, that'd be a really good one to talk about. Just consoles in general, how horrible. Because I would like to talk about that End Cage because there's some side talking going on. Let's just say that. Like it's just weird. But yeah, no, that one. Another one that I googled looking up all this while we're writing this whole thing up was another backing game. The game got canceled though. Like it didn't get funded, and then somebody took off with the money, so nobody got the money. But the game called Legend of the Lancer, like it was just one of these games I've tried to fund and thankfully didn't. But the weird thing is, like, after they disappeared, like they just vanished. So I decided to kind of Google it up, right? And it was made by a company called Gorilla Press, right? So I looked up that website. They are now a suspicious-looking host to a series of apps. Like, it's an actual app store now, which is weird. Like, it's not dedicated to, like, a phone or anything. It's just, like, at home, and you could play your apps. And I'm like, this is...
sketchy Steam, basically? Or
almost. It's almost like a sketchy Steam. It really is like a sketchy Steam. It's just the most bizarre thing. Like, the weird where are they now type situations with these games is kind of interesting.
I do remember I was playing a mobile game, and whenever they say, like, watch an ad for extra currency, yeah, there's, like, a huge list of just, you could download all these games. I'm like...
oh, yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, so it kind of reminds me of that, too. Or is it something like that?
No, it was basically kind of like you said. It was like a sketchy Steam. It was if you go to the website, it's just a bunch of the mobile apps. I feel like you can just play on the phone, play on the website itself, which is kind of weird. Like, I'm not entirely sure if that's legal or anything. Like, it's just kind of floating there. There's no real disclaimers or anything else. I'm like, and they have like famous ones too. They have like Angry Birds, and they have what's that new one that they keep talking about? AFK Arena. Mm-hmm. They have that one floating around for in there too, and it's kind of weird. It's weird. They don't have Raid Shadow Legends, so I guess they're better than them. I don't know.
Well, the only thing I think of is application updates or like APK packets when you want to get around the stores.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's
so frickin' iOS.
But yeah, speaking of like weird consoles, you actually wanted to touch up on one besides the oil. We're gonna get into oil in another episode. I feel like that one's gonna be a story. Like that one, we want to talk about a little bit at length.
The Smock Z, the Smatch Z, the Smack Z,
the Smoosh,
Smotch Z. But yeah,
that's the dumbest fucking name for anything. Just to let you know.
So if anybody remembers, it was a Steam portable PC hybrid type of thing, and it was supposed to be like the Switch killer. And I remember seeing these in magazines too when they were like, "Oh, Nintendo is done." And Stop Drop Retro, he's a YouTuber. Everybody should go subscribe to him, or please come back, man. I love his content, and I get a lot of his. I like a lot of his videos because he does a lot of these like weird buyers beware or Kickstarters beware, and
that kind of falls in the same category.
Yeah,
right now.
But he has a good bullshit detector too. So when let's see, when it first came out, he was like super skeptical about it because when the video came out, he was like, "Where's the actual prototype?" Because all it is just they had the body, and everybody's kind of holding it, and then you have screenshots of it. You have screenshots of like the tech, supposedly what they're using, but it's not like the official.
This is official, guys. I promise. Yeah. Maybe.
So yeah, it was just really sketchy, and Stop Drop Retro followed them for 2 years. So 2019 was like his last video, but he followed them for 2 years, and a lot of times when they would post something, it would just be like more demos. It wouldn't be like, here it is, it's done. So he thinks it's kind of like they use it to just stay in a really nice hotel, a really fancy hotel. So they get all the funding from Kickstarters. They stay in this really fancy hotel, and then they just update you on, oh, no, it's done. But a lot of things that he's shown, it seems like it's just a second screen to a PC, basically. And everything never looks finished. It doesn't really operate all too well. And then I think in 2019, he finally had people... So 2019, they kind of had like a finished prototype, basically. So they sent people to go he had his audience to go check it out, to actually demo it, and it just didn't seem finished. Like, it was supposed to be this, like, here it is, we're going to start production, but it didn't look finished. So
I guess it was 3D printed or something like that.
yeah, basically. And then, like, the port hubs, like, for the HDMI ports, the SD card ports, all seem like out of line and just not finished and felt really cheap. So as of 2019, that was his last video, and it's 2021. We still haven't seen the Smotch Z yet. So yeah,
it's coming, guys. I really promise. This time for real.
We just need more backing. So yeah,
I mean, maybe if we get Inafune to help budget us with it, that'll be really good.
It's better than nothing. Oh my God, he's never gonna learn that.
No, he's never gonna be able to live that down, even if it wasn't his fault.
Yeah,
like it's forever Inafune now, regardless. But yeah, no. Like with all the negative stuff, I actually want to talk about one that's a little bit. It's more of a Kickstarter fail success. Earthlock. Earthlock was actually like an RPG and stuff, right? They promised a lot of like very classic like Final Fantasy VII turn-based style gaming and stuff like that, and the final product is actually pretty good. Mm-hmm. But the first final product was not. It was actually so bad that when they had a lot of negative reviews, like we can't keep this. We're not going to keep it this way, and they had to redo so much of the game that it couldn't just be patched into the original game. Mm-hmm. So everyone was like, "Hey, everyone who has the old game, it's still the old game," and they call it something else. And the new game is free for everyone who has the old game to download. And then they had a sale for it, basically. And then that's what actually kind of put them on the map, was the actual success of the later version of the game. But, like, for a while, like, nobody wanted to touch it because they heard so much was just so bad. Because the game was just... There's, like, power spikes. There was just broken dialogue. There was just it was just a dragged mess. And it wasn't like, oh, it's buggy. Like, it was just... Implementation was just horrible. Mm-hmm. Like, it was bad. And then on top of that, their frames per second was sluggish as shit. Like, it was like 27, maybe, if I'm feeling right. If you talk to me dirty. But it was like all sorts of like weird stuff like that. Like, it was just, and they're like, we can't keep this way. We can't. So they kind of refurbished it and like churned it out, right? Mm-hmm. And now we have the Earthlock that we have today. It's not a bad game. I will say, when I backed it, they gave me a 3D printed version of the main character, and it was shattered to crap, and they couldn't replace it because of how late into the game it was to give all the backer kits out.
Oh, man.
Like, it was literally like halfway through them, like they finished the one thing, and then like halfway done finishing the final, like having to redo everything. Like, oh, we got to redo everything. And they went back and like, yeah, we can't do anything about these backer kits now because they were all done. They were all done before the first release even happened.
Oh, okay.
So they can't even replace it. It's just, I'm just SOL.
No, okay. Can you repair it?
No.
No.
It was. Have you ever had a candy cane and then you decided to put it in a bag and then you bash the crap out of the bag and then you give it the bag to your like younger brother and he bashed it over the head of your younger sister and then he gave it back to you to try to blame you for it and then it's all like this weird dust and stuff? That's basically how it was.
Oh, jeez.
Like that is exactly how it was. And so no, I didn't get that much stuff from it. Like I got like some stickers and like the figure and art cards. That was about it. Like I wasn't a huge funder to that one. The other one I'm waiting on now though is a game called Soul Saga. That one Dude, I don't really know whether or not that one's gonna be good, is a failure or not. Like that's such a gray area. Their last post was in February of 2020, and it was like this turn-based RPG that was supposed to be like a pseudo mix of like Final Fantasy with some like Harvest Moon elements and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
And they posted like last February, but before that they didn't post since 2017. So it's been over a year, and nobody knows anything beyond the small little tidbits on Steam because it's open on Steam. But they're not even updating on Steam. They don't. I don't
Can
know.
you still
what's
buy
going
it or no?
on. You could get the early access to it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure how much it is. I'm not sure how much like is done on it. Not the price. Like the price is like about $20 or so. But the reason why I funded it because I liked the game. The development team's name is called Disaster Cake. I feel like that emblemizes me in a way that I didn't think can be done.
Oh, well, it's just like a...
Like, sweetheart, you're just one giant slice of disaster cake, aren't you?
It just reminds me about a Dyatlov Pass. It's like Dead Man's Pass or something like that. I don't think you want to hike there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically that's basically what that is right there. You know, a big piece of my big old hunky disaster cake. Yeah, no, that's basically the way that is. That one's just such a weird one. Like I wasn't like when we were writing this stuff, I just wanted to at least mention it because it's just one of those like it could be a failure. I don't know. I'm not. It's just a weird one. There's a couple that I funded that they still kind of update every now and again, but I can't call them failures. Like they might not. They might take years to develop for something, and by the time they pull it out, they might have a Switch 2 out or something.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like, yeah, like I wanted Cryo more. Like that was the big thing I wanted out of all the Kickstarter stuff. But that's like this is just 20 minutes of just me posting L's on myself. This is a very special L episode.
It's good for the community, though, right? It's good for the community.
I don't know. This could be an L for the community, too. Like, I heard Paraka have to bitch about stuff.
Well, he'll fund the indies, so make more indies. He'll fund you.
Everyone's now going to make more indies and just send me little private messages like, please fund my indie. I'm like, what is it about? It's about goats kicking the crap out of mice who stole their cheese. I'm like, It's an RPG. It's an action RPG. Sold! You also get a free block of cheese as a stretch goal. Right? All right. I'm kind of on board with this now. I don't even know why. But yeah, no, it's... I am just a giant epitome of the herring story of like buyer and with Kickstarter, it's more of like an investor beware. Mm-hmm. Like most people think that they're buying something with Kickstarter, right?
Yeah. I would say if you're going to go early access, make sure it's an investment you can afford to lose. If it's not finished yet, that's what you're kind of buying into. Yeah. So, I mean, plus the important thing is there are good games out now. Like don't feel pressured into getting early access.
There's a lot of people who want games that of like franchises that don't exist anymore. That's why Mighty Number 9 was so wildly popular. Because people wanted more Mega Man. Yeah. And I think that's what people are doing. Yeah. They just want more stuff that that they don't get from the companies out there. Like if somebody makes a Kickstarter that's going to be a spiritual successor to F-Zero, a lot of the F-Zero fans are going to be like, this is probably the closest I'm going to get because Mario Kart 8 exists and it exists way too goddamn long.
Yeah. Well, also make sure that they have a good track record. Just don't throw money at, oh, I just got out of college and I think this is something I kind of want to do. It's like, yeah. No, you need a veteran who's been in it for the longest time, because a lot of times too when Stop Drop Retro made a very good point about hardware that get kickstarted. It's like don't buy into kickstarted hardware because most major companies don't need to do that. Nintendo doesn't need to do that for their console.
They have so much like R&D that like for most people who don't understand, don't do hardware because there's so much R&D. Like, you have no idea how much R&D that actually takes to develop the hardware you even see that gets out on the shelf.
Yeah.
And all these promises on Kickstarters and Indiegogos and stuff like that, they have promises to supplement something, but it's never going to be the same as what they already have.
Yeah. And like I said, when the PS4 needs to come out, they don't ask for a Kickstarter to release a PS4. They don't need a Kickstarter to ask to release a PS5. It just comes out.
Mm-hmm. Because they could afford whether or not that can turn a profit or not.
Yeah.
That's definitely that. But yeah, no, the harrowing stories of please avoid the crap out of hardware on Kickstarter. And if you have money to blow it on better things. Kickstarter is definitely going to be an investment thing. So always expect you might lose everything from it. That's just basically a PSA for everyone. Whoever wants to get into something like that, that's kind of how that works. But that is going to be it for us today, and we will see you on the other side.